All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Shalom Labakarium, peace to the elect. All right. What I want to do is, real quick, I'm just going to make some corrections. And I had to sharpen up my sword this week and tighten up on some understanding as far as prophecy is concerned. All right, because that's very important in these last days to understand the prophecies to its fullest capacity, to your fullest capacity, to your fullest measure. All right, because in these last days, you're going to have a lot of deception between false prophets and then also to the propaganda. All right, false narratives that are being shown unto our people. Okay, to ultimately stir up confusion. Okay, so you have that on both ends. You have that from Esau and his media outlet. All right, and then also too, you have that with these false prophets that are arising in these last days, heaping disciples unto themselves. Okay, that are not continuing in sound doctrine. All right, so nonetheless, all right, so one thing I want to do is I want to touch on as far as, you know, these 7 kings, all right, which ultimately represent NATO, okay, and the power structure of the beast. All right, so this is Revelation chapter 17 and 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and another is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Now, it says, and there are 7 kings. The 7 kings is the Romans, the French, the Spanish, the Greeks, all right, the British, Germania Major, and Germania Minor, okay? It says 5 are fallen. The 5 that are fallen is the French, the Spanish, the Greeks, Germania Major, and Germania Minor. Why? Because they weren't able to excel in that region as far as rulership. And the time during when this epistle was written and John got the vision, all right, the Romans were in rule, okay? And that is the one that is at that time. And the other is not yet come, which, again, this was written back then. And the one that came that was not yet come at that time was the British. And you and not for nothing, you can see that when you watch the old when you look at timeline and the history and the rulership of the different regions of the earth, all right, you see that like in movies like King Arthur and these other movies, everyone had to hail to the British authority unto England. All right, the kings, they came out of England. All right, and people and in all those different regions, especially you see the French, you see those different nations trying to get rulership, but they all had to pay homage to England. Okay, and you see that in many depictions, all right, of these medieval, so-called medieval or dark age times as well, because the rulership of that region, especially for most of the part of the earth, came out of the British. All right, and then when he cometh, right, he must continue a short space, right? Now, it says, and the beast that was and is, even he is the 8th and is of the 7, meaning that last one, the 8th is talking about America, but it came out of the British Empire. All right, that's how you get your judicial system. Okay, that's how you get a lot of the law here in America. And one thing I want to point out, especially being here in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, okay, because this is one of the places that was first settled, and it was established that what was established was that English style cultivation, if you will, or that English style even the architecture. Okay, even when you go up to Philadelphia, you got the row houses. Okay, a lot of the influence in this region has an English influence. Again, you go back to in history, you had a man by the name of King George, going back to the 1600s, 1620s, around that time. All right, those settlers that came here, and they call it the first Brexit, that were getting away from England. Okay, and establishing the 13 colonies. Well, after the 13 colonies, then you had what the Revolutionary War. Okay, to part ways with England. Now, That's why you have here in DC in particular, okay, you have a place called Georgetown, okay, and then you also too you have Charles, Prince Charles is reverenced in this area. Lord Baltimore, all right, Calvert, or you have Calvert County, Queen Anne. Okay, when you look, matter of fact, this is what I'll do. Let's do like this. I'm gonna go just to harp on that point, because that's why I stumbled, because what I said was at camp was that the 8th came out of the Roman Empire, which that's not entirely true. Okay, what I'm gonna do is let's look at the counties of Maryland. We're going to go to images. All right. And you can see the influence of England. Matter of fact, Apostle Gabar is known, he told the story how he used to live in London. And I remember when he came out and he went to Baltimore, he said, look, this looked like London. The elder brother Ramah, he actually came out this way. He was in Baltimore as well. And he said the same thing, how the row houses in Baltimore look like certain neighborhoods in England. Okay, but furthermore, I want to get a better picture. Let me see if we can pull it up. There we go. I'm trying to get a better. Okay, let's do like, I guess we can visit it. Let me see. Okay. Oh, man. Give me 1 second. I don't know why, Here we all right, that's better. So you got Anne Arundel, Queen Anne, which that goes into Anne Arundel, Calvert, St. Mary's, Dorchester, all right, Worcester, all right, Frederick, Howard, okay, Prince George, Charles, which goes back to Prince Charles, okay. So you see how that 8th came out of the 7, all right, and that 7 represents the British, okay. So that's another point that I wanted to touch on. And again, when you go into DC, you have a place called Georgetown, which is known for law. And I'll give you some quick history about Georgetown, which Georgetown used to be all black, okay? Just like they say DC used to be called Chocolate City. And then what happened was, which I noticed for a fact, because I met an individual who was an architect in DC, all right, who built particular bridges and things of that nature. He told me the story on how the blacks went into Howard, which is known as Howard University today, which is a so-called historical black college, right? But Howard was all white, and it makes sense because it's named after General Howard, which was a so-called white man. But then it became an all black school after the prestige, if you will, of the individuals, the teachers, the professors of Georgetown, and re-educated those in Howard County. I'm sorry, not Howard County, in the University of Howard. Okay, so there's a lot of history that they don't speak about as far as the rulership and what was going on, during the colonization period. All right, so I just wanted to bring that part out. Okay. So, and then it says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, which we know is America, and is of the 7, which comes out of where? That 7 is England, all right, the British, and goeth into perdition, because America was established to be destroyed. Okay, it was set as a place for where not to be. Okay. Now, from there, the other thing I want to touch on is something that I mentioned yesterday, which I kind of misspoke, but we want to be all the way on point, which in this video, I made mention about the Besiege of Bethlehem, aka Bafwalaya, which that's how you say Bethlehem in the Hebrew, and Bathwala means virgin, and Yah at the end makes it the Most High. It's short for the Most High's name, so it literally means the Most High's virgin. All right, and there was a besiege there. That's where you get the story of Judith. All right, and in that story, I correlated to the time now where you have the dragon, okay, in Revelation, the 12th chapter, who made war with the woman. Now, that dragon is ultimately synonymous with Herod the Great, all right? Or Herod. Let me say Herod, because I don't know if it was Herod the Great or not, which, you know, I'm not sure on that, so I'm not going to say it, you know. But ultimately, when you go into this dragon and he persecuted and made war with the woman, all right, the young woman, Iwalamya, okay, and persecuted Yahushai, all right, there was a besiege. Why? Because he wanted to kill all the firstborn. All the sons, all the newborn sons of Israel. Okay? So when you go here, Revelations 12 and 10, no. Right, verse 13, Revelation 12 and 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And the man-child's talking about Yahushai. And to the woman were given 2 wings, right? With the verse 17, this is the point. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, right? And went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of the Most High, and have the testimony of Yahushua, because that is going to be reenacted in these last times. Okay, because Yahweh, the Most High's virgin in this time is the elect, starting with the 144,000 that did not sleep with men. I'm sorry, did not sleep with women. Okay, that's Revelations, the 7th chapter, and I believe the 3rd or 4th verse. Okay, so but that ultimately is not necessarily Augustus, which that is ultimately the same time, because when you go into Matthew, the 2nd chapter, okay. This is the actual part, okay, in which, you know, Herod had that council, all right? It says, when Herod the king heard that these things he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, I'm in the 4th verse, he demanded them where the anointed should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judah, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least of the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired them diligently what time the star appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced and with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. Hence, they worshipped Yahushai. Okay, you got individuals talking about you're not supposed to worship Yahushai. Well, that's a cut right there. All right, mainly the Sakari. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of the Most High in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared unto Joseph in a dream, arise and take the young child, his mother, and flee into Egypt. Okay, and be thou there. And this was all written, all right, and recorded in the analogy of the dragon and the woman in Revelation, the 12th chapter. Just like Moses, okay, the earth was formed, and we have that understanding in the book of Genesis. That wasn't given until later on with Moses in Mount Sinai. Moses wrote Genesis, and although Genesis already happened, the Most High had Moses record what happened in Genesis. Okay? It says, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. You see? When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt. So the angel of the Lord warned Joseph to get out of there. Why? Because of that dragon. That dragon was wroth with the woman. He wanted to make war with the woman. He wanted to kill the child. Okay? It says, I'm jumping down verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and all the coast thereof from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. You see, so that goes right into Revelation, the 12th chapter, not necessarily Augustus, which I said that, I was kind of like going through it pretty fast, but Augustus did put hell on Israel with the taxation and the census. But the real hell was through Herod, which this is all the same time frame. Okay, you had the hell and the persecution from Augustus, the taxation, all right? Basically, it was a hyperinflation that Augustus sanctioned. But then also, too, you had Herod killing the young children of Israel. All right? So that's that point. Now, the other part I want to go into is, because Elder Yashawamba, no, not that. Hold up now. One body, this one, which I pretty much watched the whole thing. You got these guys, one body in yeah, we just call them one body, all right? And they're talking about the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, and Alexander were Israelites, which pretty much the Elder Yashawamba went into this, and he cut them, went into the history, went into the prophecies. Daniel's the 8th chapter, and I believe he went to Revelation as well. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but he went into the history, the Maccabees, and things of that nature, just to prove that essentially those Greeks and Alexander weren't Israelites. So another point that I wanted to land back off of, all right, was the point where you have in the editions of Esther, which it tells you here, right, about, because during the time of Esther, you had Haman, the Agagite, persecuting the children of Israel, right? Now, in the editions of Esther, it makes mention of Haman, but this time it calls Haman, it says, what? For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us. So this showing you that Haman, which was a well-known Agagite, okay, which was who? A Macedonian, all right? And who okay, let's go to the Apocrypha, all right? First Maccabees 1:1, and it happened after Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Okay? So you have Philip of Macedon, okay, which the hierarchy of the Macedonians of that time came out of Haman, the Agagite, Edomites, Amalekites. All right, which I had this here because when you go back, let's go back real quick. When you go back here in the editions of Esther, okay, it says, for Haman, a Macedonian of Amadatha. Okay, now let's look up what it says for Amadatha. All right, that's where you get the word Hamadatha, right? It says what? Both sometimes omit, right? Father of the infamous Haman, and commonly designated as the Agagite. Okay? And when you go into Agag, the Agagites, all right, let me see. Let's copy it. This is what I'm going to do. We're going to do it the hard way. One second. Bear with me a moment. This is William McClintock and James Strong's Concordance, but it goes into a little more detail. It's called biblicalencyclopedia.com. And it doesn't allow you to type in your search. You just got to look it up. But we're going to go into Agag, or the Agagites. All right? So, one sec. We almost there. All right, Agag, or Agagite, right? Agag. Agag, from the root, 1 Samuel always written, right? The name of two kings of the Amalekites, and probably a common name of all their kings, like Pharaoh in Egypt, and Achish or Abimelech among the Philistines, which Pharaoh is not the name of the actual ruler of Egypt. That was his title. Okay? Agagite. Okay? Name of the nation which Haman belonged. Josephus explains it as the meaning Amalekite. All right? So these are Edomites, man. All right? The Macedonians were Edomites. Philip of Macedon was an Edomite. He was an Amalekite. All right? Let's go back real quick. It says what? I'm going to read it again. For Haman the Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us, had so far forth obtained the favor that we should toward every nation, as that he was called our father, and was continually honored of all the next persons unto the king. Right? Because Agag got favor from the king. All right? And it says what? Having by manifold, but he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life. Okay? Having by manifold and cunning deceits sought of us the destruction, as well of Mordecai, who saved our life, and continually procured our good, as also of blameless Esther, partaker of our kingdom with the whole nation. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. Okay? And that's what you see that happen throughout time. The kingdom was translated from the Persians to the Macedonians, but Haman was trying to do that at the time of Esther, but that wasn't fulfilled until later on during the time of Darius. Okay? Which I believe this was, Ahasuerus. Okay? Then you had Darius. Okay? So that's pretty much it, man. That's the point. Okay? Yeah, man, I'm gonna close on that. You know, and Lord's will, this was edifying, and Lord's will, you learned something. And Lord's will, we on to the next one, man. Call Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Chakwadah. Shalom.